Call the meeting. Ooh, first I want to mute this. Now let's see if I can call the meeting together without that. Yes. I'd like to call the meeting of the Centennial School District Governing Board in order, and I would like to ask for the approval of the May 8th agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to accept the agenda as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you very much. The agenda has been approved. Superintendent Owens, I believe we have an introduction of a guest tonight.
We do. Diana Mitchell's here. Let's give Diana Mitchell a round of applause. Seemed a little quiet without that. So I'm pleased to share the selection of Diana Mitchell as the new principal of Park Lane Elementary School. She will assume the principalship on July 1st, following the supportive interim leadership of Mari Scottagiri, who you remember from Centennial High School, as well as Laura June, as you'll remember as Laura Nixon from Pleasant Valley, who's in the house tonight, for the 23-24 school year. With 17 years of experience in education, Diana has deep roots in the Park Lane Oliver community. Most recently, Diana has served next door at Oliver Middle School as the assistant principal for the past 2 years, as well as the assistant principal at Oliver Elementary School the year prior to the school's transition to Oliver Middle School. So she's very familiar with the community there. Prior to her current role, she served as a learning specialist both at Centennial Middle School and Park Lane Elementary, and as a 5th and 6th grade classroom teacher at Oliver Elementary. Diana has been an active participant in various committees at the district level, and she is conversant in Spanish. She has a Bachelorette of Arts in Humanities with a minor in Spanish from Concordia, MAT from the University of Portland, and her special education endorsement from the University of Portland, and has her principal licensure from George Fox. So she has plenty of education under her belt. She's excited to join the Park Lane community and looking forward to getting to know the staff, students, and families, and is currently working with the administration at Park Lane to ensure a smooth transition. So let's give Diana a warm welcome. If I left anything for you to share, go ahead and do that.
I told you, is this on? Maybe.
If it's green, it's on.
It's green, it's on. Great, so I don't have to figure out how to do it. No, thank you for that introduction. I think the only additional sharing is that I am incredibly excited about this opportunity. I'm so grateful to the interim administration. I also want to just call out Jane Harrington, the AP there, who's done amazing work. You know, it's been quite the journey in Centennial. I started my career in Centennial on that campus with that community, and this community means the world to me, so to be able to continue the work there. And as I was driving here tonight, I was thinking, you know, what is it about Centennial? And one of the things I love about Centennial is that I have spent 17 years here, but I'm not the same educator I was 17 years ago, because the district is invested in change and growing and developing our teachers and our leaders for the betterment of the students and our families. So I'm just excited and grateful for this opportunity and for that opportunity as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Another face to get used to, but a face that's been here for a while, from what I understand. Congratulations on your position. Approval of minutes, board members. Do I have a motion to approve the April 24th minutes as presented?
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? No. Thank you. Moving forward. I don't believe any public forum has been received by the district. Is that correct? Thank you. Student reports. Hello. Hey, you're back. This is good to see you both tonight. I'm turning it over to you.
Okay. So these are our reports. Starting off this week to celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week. Teacher Appreciation.
Yes. we appreciate all of you guys, so thank you for everything you guys do. So today at the high school, or this week actually, on Monday we gave every teacher in the high school an apple, because an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Tuesday, we had students write a teacher a note, like a nice note. And then on Wednesday, we dressed as our favorite teacher. And then on Thursday, we're going to write more notes and then pass them out to teachers. And then on Friday, we wear red.
Are you currently dressed as your favorite teacher?
I have too many favorite teachers, so I couldn't pick one. Okay. Eagle Expo is tomorrow. Seniors will be displaying their LinkedIn. So if you guys want to come in and check my LinkedIn out, that's at 5:30. And yeah.
Can I ask a question about that? Like, is it kind of a drop-in thing? Or is there gonna be like a program do we have to be there for the whole hour and a half?
I think Mr.
I can
Hardy
help you,
knows.
Claudia. It's like an open house,
It's like an open
or
house.
it was in the past.
Okay.
Where you go in front of the classrooms, there's different booths and different tables of things going on, and you just kind of meander around and say hi and shake hands and give
Okay.
hugs.
Okay,
And
great.
Principal Miller is affirming that.
Yeah, and here, we're actually, so we want all the community that we can, especially, any teachers who are here, because seniors are gonna be presenting on their 5-year plan, so what's post-high school. They're showing their LinkedIn, their resume, and what we really want is feedback for them so they can improve even more. And so we want as many people giving them feedback as they're going through. And so when you come, you're gonna actually be handed these feedback forms and asked to give feedback to at least 3. And then the students are actually taking this feedback and they're going to be using it to improve their resume and their 5-year plan. But they're supposed to be explaining what they're actually doing post-high school.
We'd love to have you there. 5:30 tomorrow.
Okay, so I can talk about the OASC. This happened about last weekend, and it was, so 17 of us student council members traveled to Seaside, and it was a convention of leadership, and this opened up so much opportunities for us to learn what other schools did as a student council, as their student body, and I learned a lot for next year because I'll be president after Marisol. And yeah, it was just really nice to see what other schools did.
Wait, when was the opening night? I don't know, but student council attended the opening night, and the play that the musical theater is having is literally so good. If you have not watched it, please go. We were all in shock, and we were like, we can't believe we go to school with these talented people. But yeah, the last nights are left are May 10th and the 11th. If you are able to go, please make sure to go. It was super good.
And then I can talk about prom. Next week, we're actually starting to sell tickets, and our theme is Enchanted Evening.
Seniors are going to Oaks Park June 5th. We're super excited because due to COVID, we couldn't go to our middle school Oaks Park trip. So as our senior gift, our senior class president, she pulled together a senior Oaks Park trip for us, and we're super excited. We sold tickets for $20, and we have 146 seniors going, and that's pretty exciting. We are still looking for chaperones. If you're free June 5th. But yes, pretty exciting.
And then we're going to give a shout out because one of our students at Centennial High School, Van Pam, placed top 5 at OSAA State Speech and Debate. And then this is I've talked about this a couple times at the meeting, but Eagle Fest, which is coming up pretty soon. It's towards the end of the month, and it's through May 29th to June 1st. So May 29th, we have our Powder Tough, which is a volleyball junior versus senior game. May 30th, student versus staff basketball game. May 31st we're actually going to have Carrie Ann's Carnival, which is our athletic director secretary, do a carnival before Powder Tough or Powder Puff, which is a girls flag football senior versus junior game as well. So I think it would be really great to see the community there, and I'm pretty sure it's a free entry. So go out, have fun with the community, and help us as a community grow. And then June 1st, prom, and then again June 5th is Oaks Park trip for seniors. And that's everything we have today.
That's a wrap.
That was a lot. There's a lot of things going on, oh my. Board members, do you have questions?
I had a quick question. Was there like one thing that stood out when you were meeting with other student councils?
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that there's always opportunities to grow. Like, it's never just one thing. We're always constantly learning, and that's what it really opened my eyes, because I was just so used to Centennial's way of like doing things, but then when I got to see other schools, like their ways, it really inspired me. Like, I really want to take some of the ideas to go to Centennial. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much. You always do a really good job at that, and we feel very connected to the high school when you're here. So I appreciate both of you being here tonight. Our next report is from the other side of the house, our teaching side and our administrative side of Pleasant Valley, the alma mater of my children. Whoa, yes.
Nice.
So, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here. I'm just going to share my screen. Oh, I'll need to go back. If it plays, just ignore it. Okay. So I'm really happy to be here today and meet all of you in person. I met you through Zoom when I first started, right? So it's nice to be here in person. Just going to chat a little bit about our school and our goals and some of the things that we have done to sort of move our learning forward. And I loved what you said about learning new things. I think, you know, we're still learning as grown-ups, right? Like, you just continue to learn if you're doing it right. Anyways. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. Just want to talk a little bit about collaboration with families and community. We have 2 events that we do every year. The first was Literacy Night, super well attended. Lots of kids coming with families to do different games and have just really focus on reading and how amazing it is, and that was really well attended. Our Earth Day event, not as much, but it was on a Monday, which was the actual Earth Day. Maybe that was it, maybe because it was the first warm day, but whatever. We're also just examining as a staff, you know, is this something that families value, and do we need to change it going forward? We also have really cool after-school events that families are very involved in. On the right up there, you'll see our 2nd and 3rd grade musical. We did not have enough chairs in our auditorium to fit all the families. Super cute and amazing. We also have chess after school, we have track, and we have art, and here's some of the pictures from those things. Here's our community partners. You may notice that it's fewer than maybe some of the other schools. We have fewer, but we really appreciate the Shadow Project, Trillium, Family Services, and then our after-school care champions for some of our students. Okay, I want to focus now and shift to our goals this year. And our goals really had to do with 3 things: strong reading growth, strong math growth, and then engagement and attendance improvement. And, you know, one of the things that my background is MTSS, which just means multi-tiered systems of support. So I'm going to talk about some of the things we've done this year sort of in that framework. Tier 1 is something that all students receive no matter what, and we want our classrooms to be differentiated and serve all students. Tier 2 is just for some students often, and it just means some kids need a little more support. And then Tier 3 would be for students who need individualized supports. And so we think about this in terms of all of our systems: academics, social emotional learning, and then also engagement. So the first thing I want to talk about is just our Tier 1 supports. We have focused professional learning communities, PLCs, that we really we just basically looked at our macro data, like our big data that we get from our big tests that we have 3 times a year. And we zoomed in to things that we noticed that kids in our classrooms still need a lot of support with. And we use this data-based decision-making to really help us move forward with the work. So we're really looking at data, we're making goals, setting goals, learning, right, individually and collaboratively, implementing the new learning for students, and then we're just basically saying, did it work? Did it work or didn't it work? Okay, we also have focused on social emotional learning and integrating that into our academics. We know from research that social emotional learning really helps with academics, surprisingly, right? You would think it's two separate things, but really the reality of what research is showing us is that it's really important. So we our leadership team created an SEL Look For's document that we used to guide our work, and we spent a lot of time in our staff meetings really spending time learning about these things. We looked at teaching actions, student actions, and then classroom interactions. And then we took the time to look back at our curriculum. How can we integrate this into our lessons and make sure that we are serving all students? Okay. We also did peer observations this year, where you can see the amazing educators behind me. And one of the benefits, I think, about our school is that teachers tend to stay. There's a wealth of knowledge at our school. And what we found is that teachers want to learn from each other. They're amazing teachers, and sometimes, there's not opportunities to get into other people's classrooms. So we made this a part of our learning this year. We focused on vertical alignment, thinking about specifically math. How are we thinking about kindergarten to first grade to second, all the way up to fifth, and just thinking about, well, what's important? What do you want our students, or what do we want our students to know before they get to our classes, to our grade? And then sharing that with teachers in the grade below. We focused on priority standards and backwards planning, really taking that time to focus on the things that we know kind of have a bigger, I don't like this saying, bang for your buck, right? Like standards that we know are really important for students and will follow them through the years. So we focused on that a lot. Okay, I want to talk about Tier 2, our targeted interventions. We had Tier 2 meetings this year with grade level teams. We had the title teachers, the counselors, our ELD teacher, and then grade level teams come together, and we formed groups. And we looked at small reading groups. Okay, so what does the student need? What skill do they need for a short part of the day? And had smaller groups. And so that was for kids who needed additional support, but also kids that were at benchmark or above. What do they need right now? And all classroom teachers K-3 were teaching those small groups, including the title teachers. We have our counselor doing some small SEL groups as well. Okay, we're going to move right into Tier 3. We formed an attendance committee. We realized that our attendance wasn't what we wanted it to be, right? Ever since COVID, I think that many of us have heard this, that attendance around the country is really dropping, right? So how can we improve this? What can we do to make our schools more enjoyable, more likable for our students? We have a student success team that really looks at students who are not making adequate progress and surrounding them with more supports, meeting with parents, forming those relationships with families because they know their children the best. And for our reading groups, if students needed additional support and weren't making growth, we are thinking about smaller group size or more time for them in those groups. We did student perception surveys, and we found that some students don't like coming to school or don't feel like they have a grown-up that they can trust at school. And so we did some empathy interviews with those students that scored low on that survey and just tried to ask open-ended questions. What do they need? What are they feeling? And then the last part of that is just supporting those students. So we met with even our educational assistants, and we looked at students who needed more love and basically found ways to give them more connections throughout the day, right? To let them know that they are appreciated and that there are grown-ups who are here to help them. And then finally, we have started a regulation room. If you've heard of the Shadow Project, they are all about regulation rooms. We tweaked it a little bit based on the district I was at before, and we basically have individual students come into the room. They do some upregulating activities where they get their bodies moving and then some calming. They go to a station and practice regulation, and then at the end they're taught a lesson by an educational assistant on how to feel that sense of regulation in their bodies. And we've had a lot of success with student behaviors through this room. Okay, I want to jump into data. Our math growth, what we found in the middle of the school year in the winter was that we didn't grow as much as we wanted to grow. And our numbers pretty much stayed the same for students who were performing at benchmark. And so we really wrapped around that and dove more into our math work during our staff meetings and our implementation sessions. And we also had our second PLC really focus on math. But as you can see here, our goal was, and this might be a little confusing because it's using some interesting terms, but it says by spring of 2024, 85% or more of students will reach a student growth percentile score of at least 35 or more on STAR Math, and disproportionality between student groups will decrease. All that really means is what percentage of our students are making typical growth or above? We had the goal of 85. We made it to 70. It was 65 last year. Didn't make our goal, but going in the right direction. Our engagement and attendance growth, we actually don't have the final data for the spring, but for the winter, we were pretty disappointed. We didn't have a lot of growth in our engagement data, specifically students answering, "I like going to school." It was about the same as it was before. And our attendance got a little worse. So we know that happens in the winter, but we were hoping that we could not have that happen. Here's our reading growth. And this is the same kind of thing, student growth by 85%. In K1, we're a little low. I've told my teachers I don't necessarily trust that company right now because the data's a little funny. But we're at 44%, not anywhere close to where we want to be. Last year was 60%. But our second through fifth grade, we're at 78% of students made typical growth or above. Last year was 66. So we're making lots of growth in second through fifth. But I want to show you this, which was, I think, one of the things I was most proud of. And this basically says that from fall to winter, every single student group, disaggregated student group, grew in how many students were at benchmark or above. And you can see that. Asian students, if we don't have a big percentage, it's not going to show that for Black and African American, Hispanic, Latino, multiracial, white, and then it even is economically disadvantaged, active EL, and students that are receiving special ed services. So this is pretty amazing to have the growth across all student groups. And so, we're really proud of that. Okay, I want to stop there and I want to show you this amazing video that our students are actually the stars of. So.
We are reporting live from Pleasant Valley. I'm Elena. I'm Ari. And I'm Cyrus. Have you ever wondered what a day of a Pleasant Valley student looks like?
We start our day in our classrooms and morning meetings. We do this to help us learn how to be a strong community.
My name is Alex. Try this test. Smile. Now try to think of something negative without losing the smile. It is hard. When we smile, our body is sending the rest of us a message that life is good. Thank you and welcome to Pleasant Valley Elementary.
In our classrooms, we are learning amazing things. We learn how to be better leaders, mathematicians, and scientists. We learn about history and ourselves. Some of us have intervention time where we learn reading skills we need to succeed.
We do awesome art that we display in our hallways and on bulletin boards.
Sometimes our whole school comes together to watch amazing performances by our fellow students, like when we watch the second and third grade musical. While we work on the wild side, we've been learning about invasive plants like Himalayan blackberry and thistle and why it's important to remove them. We've also learned that removing blackberries is hard work and needs to happen consistently, but it gives us a sense of accomplishment when we can see the progress we've made. I'm gonna go. In our Sources of Strength lessons, we explore the people, places, and things in our lives that help us have strong hearts, minds, and bodies. We learn how to manage big emotions and ask for help when we need it.
As a bonus, some of us sign up for chess, chorus, track, or art class. These after-school activities help us find hobbies we love.
We hope you like learning about our amazing school. You'll be hearing great things from years to come.
For those of you who are guessing 1800s, they didn't have recording equipment back then.
All right. So that's the end of the presentation, and just wondered if there's any questions.
Board members, excuse me, questions?
Question. My question was about the attendance. Is the attendance lower because there aren't as many kids in the community, or is it a percentage that
It's a
just
percentage,
just not coming to class?
yes, who are registered but are not making it to school.
Is there any insight as to why?
Well, I mean, we know in the winter that students tend to get sick, right? So that's part of it, but I don't know if we know exactly why. I know that after COVID, it really took a hit around the country. I'm not sure about that. As far as our school, we did do empathy interviews with some of those students, and you know, some of them are like, the alarm clock won't go off, or nobody's there to wake me up, or I just wasn't feeling well all of those days. So
Okay.
it really just depends.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions?
My question's also about attendance. You talked about, did you call it a regulation room?
Yes.
How is that? I didn't get the connection with attendance then. I didn't understand that.
So it's kind of all in this umbrella, and why I talked about it together is that we're really thinking about student engagement, right? But it really wasn't in that conversation of attendance. So they are separate. Yeah, where I was talking about social emotional learning, it's kind of tied because we want kids to feel like they belong. And part of that regulation room is feeling like they have the tools that they need and the skills that they need to be successful in school. So that's kind of how they're connected, but they're really separate in my mind too. Yeah.
You're good? I have a question about, actually, kind of dovetailing on Director Harden's question about the attendance. Do you think being more of the rural part of our district has an impact on attendance?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen everyone else's data, but I did hear from other principals that they're experiencing similar. Yeah.
And we do know that this is something that's happening nationwide. You can't read anything about education without reading about
Yeah.
attendance. So it's not like your school is different
Yeah.
or
But, you
any
know, if they
worse
don't
off.
come to school, we can't teach them the things we need to teach them. So it's so important.
So you
But we
brought
do have an attendance committee, and we call families and just see, what can we do to help, you know? Instead of like chastising, just be like, what are some barriers and can we help remove them?
I think the connections that you speak of are huge, right? To reach out to not only the child, but to the parent as well. And the other question I also had is, I didn't know about kindergarten. We think of it as a requirement, and yet it's not exactly a requirement. And so how do we, you know, what do you do to instill in our kindergarten students the love of school?
Yeah.
That sounds like something that we all need to focus on.
Yeah.
You mentioned, sorry for my voice, peer observations, and you have a lot of support here. So would you like to take a moment and introduce everyone who came with you
I
tonight?
would love to, if that's.
Or
if
have them
that's-
introduce themselves, whichever way.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Let's start with Andy in the back. Yes.
Andy Riker, fifth grade teacher. Give me a second.
Andy Reichert, 5th grade teacher.
John Nemo, physical education.
Katie Slicko, 2nd grade.
Sarah Taylor, title teacher. Caitlin Copra, 1st grade.
Sarah Thompson, counselor.
Jamie Reddy, 3rd grade.
Carrie Armento, 1st grade.
Michelle Hetrick, 5th grade.
Kennedy Morgana, 3rd grade.
Michelle Baker, 2nd grade.
I think that's it. I think that's it.
Did we get you all on mic? Yes, this is good. Thank you. Superintendent Owens, would you like to?
Yeah,
say
absolutely.
anything?
I know it's been a long day, particularly for our staff, many of whom I saw this morning for breakfast at 7 a.m. So I appreciate you hanging in there and showing support for your principal as she shared her first report to the school board. So that's appreciated. You spoke to the longevity of the staff, and I would just echo that. Very familiar faces that I've seen over the years, very established staff at Pleasant Valley, and that is just a testament to the community that you've developed amongst each other and with the students and their families as well. So it's great to see such an established staff, and then also principal leadership as well. Holland is our 3rd principal, and the last 2 between them were 20 years as principals, and so you follow in big footsteps, and based on tonight's report, I think you're doing a swell job. So appreciate the leadership that you're providing. And one of the pieces that really shined with Holland when she was interviewing for the position was her instructional leadership capabilities. And I think that is really showing through in terms of what was shared this evening, and also just what's been being cultivated with the staff as well. And so there's a lot of instructional strength that the staff brings to the table, and Holland's just working to enhance already strong practices at Pleasant Valley. So really appreciate the work that's happening at the school, and thank you for showcasing it here this evening.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. She did such a good job, you guys. Great leader. Thank you for sharing.
you.
What we want to do is just take about a 5-minute break for those of you who might not want to stay for the entirety of the meeting. So thank you again, though, for coming and supporting your principal and for telling us a little bit about your school. Appreciate it.
And Chief Communications Officer Albert Rosales Correa is going to help take a photo of the crew out in the hallway entry area. So if you'd stick around at least for a picture before you go, that would be great. Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Say what you need to say. I don't want that.
Thank you, everyone. Take our short break. We're back in session. Here we go. So, superintendent report. Mr. Owens. We're in. Oh, well, the little thing on the screen doesn't say that, but. It's current. That's fun.
I think they are now in first grade.
I'll get it.
Destination 2023 photos. I was like, ooh, where are those kids?
The kids that were there before are probably grown up already. I believe that was an old word.
Are we good? All right. Got it. Thank you, Noah. Appreciate it. Greetings, board members. It's my pleasure and privilege to share with you this update about happenings in the district. As you know, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. In the field of education, the term teacher is sometimes used as a ubiquitous term for licensed educators, which include, but are not limited to, school counselors, psychologists, social workers, learning specialists, and other specialists as well. In recognition, this morning we held our annual Teacher Appreciation Breakfast at Centennial Middle School. And we had the pleasure of having Director Andrews, Director Lynn, and Chair Solowski all with us this morning. And here are some pictures that you can see from the event. Administrators and board members were on hand to help, I would say to help serve breakfast, but it was self-serve this morning. So to our licensed staff, and appreciate them for their work. Most of us know at least one educator that we remember for their motivation, caring, or support. So please take the time this week to let our licensed staff know how much they're appreciated. Next week, Centennial Middle School sixth graders will attend outdoor school from Sunday, May 12th through Friday, May 17th. Students will attend one of 5 camps: Westwind, Coralty, Namanu, Angelos, and Collins. If it's anything like Oliver's outdoor school experience earlier this year, students will likely have the opportunity for hiking, campfire cooking, archery, making friendship bracelets, and maybe cracking open geodes, which thanks to Director Stanley, I now know what they are. As was mentioned in my weekly email to the board and in the student update as well, tomorrow, May 9th, there will be a special event at Centennial High School called the Eagle Expo. At this year's Expo, the graduating class of 2024 will share their high school success stories and future plans. And as was mentioned by Principal Miller, attendees will have the opportunity to witness the class of 2024 presenting their LinkedIn profiles and portfolios, showcasing their academic and extracurricular achievements, and you'll be able to provide them feedback on their presentations. This occasion serves as a celebration of the hard work, dedication, and achievements of our graduating students who are ready to embark on their future journeys. And as you can see on the screen, and as was reminded before, the event runs from 5 to 7 p.m. at CHS. And if I move that bar off, you would be able to see the time. All right. Last Friday, on May 3rd, about 40 Centennial High School students of color met to learn about pathway opportunities to one day become a school educator. This pathway has been further developed this year for many students, starting with the opportunity to participate in Big Eagle, Little Eagle. And through this pathway, I'm trying to get this thing so that it's not blocking the view. Okay. Through this pathway, students of color have the opportunity to apply for a summer academy through Multnomah Education Service District. The summer academy includes paid coursework at Portland Community College, transportation through bus passes, meals, and a paid internship in the Centennial Elementary Summer Learning Program. So it's fairly comprehensive. We're excited to see this new educator pathway become more developed and look forward to seeing the results materialize in future years. As was mentioned during a few updates over the course of this year, Centennial has reinstituted the District Equity Leadership Team composed of representatives from each school, including community partners, students and parents, and a board liaison. So thank you to Vice Chair Shields for serving in this role and joining in today's session. Today, the District Equity Leadership Team held another session in the boardroom from 12 to 4, focused on revision of the equity lens and support processes for it, providing input on the district's equity policy, which was first set in 2014, so we're about 10 years since that policy was established, and also providing reflection and feedback on the equity module training that all staff in the district engaged in this school year. I'll allow Vice Chair Shields to share a little bit about her experience in today's session, should she so wish.
It's what's kind of impressive is the number of people and a level of commitment in the room. It's just really nice to see that everybody is engaged and involved in the conversation and want for it to be successful and are looking for ways for it to be successful, even when it takes questioning, like, well, how can that be, or what should we be doing, and then maybe how could we do something differently, which is sometimes really hard to say to one another, but it's an impressive group of people, and just really proud of the individuals who have put that kind of time and effort into moving the district forward in these efforts.
Next Tuesday, May 14th, Centennial will be conducting the Spring Data Summit. This routine is the third and final trimester district-level data analysis cycle as part of Roadmap 27. It's conducted to monitor the impact of our learning and adjust and improve instructional practices as a system. During the Data Summit, representative school leadership team members will engage in a structured, reflective process that involves the review and analysis of student data and professional practices that are aligned to their school improvement plans and Roadmap 27. This critical review is intended to inform the revision of school improvement plans for the next school year. As opposed to previous data summits in which trimester data was examined, teams will be looking at the year in review as a whole and including data by trimesters. School teams will then spend the afternoon doing action planning for their revised improvement plans for the 24-25 school year. This is pictures that you see from the last data summit in the winter. Later on this month, on Friday, May 31st, we'll be hosting our annual Centennial retirement celebration at Persimmon Country Club for staff retiring this year. On the screen, you'll see the retirement class of 2023. And I know that our retirees appreciate when we have board members who are able to attend and recognize the dedication and service to the district. I included further information about the event in my weekly board email, as well as an RSVP to complete. So thank you in advance for considering attending if you are available to do so. Finally, as you will recall, at the April 24th, 2024 board work session, the board approved the administration to request a waiver from the Oregon Department of Education for up to 14 hours of emergency closure time due to adverse weather conditions and facilities failures. In Centennial, this impacted our ability to meet instructional minute requirements by 11.2 hours for current 7th graders at Centennial Middle School. Following board approval, the district subsequently submitted our request to the Oregon Department of Education, and I'm pleased to report that ODE Director Dr. Charlene Williams has approved this request. As such, and barring the need for any additional school closure time, we will not need to adjust our school year calendar to accommodate for additional instructional time. I welcome any comments or questions you have about these topics, and that concludes my superintendent's report.
I had a question, and it's okay if you don't know off the top of your head. I'm just curious how many retirees we have this year.
Ooh, that's a great question. Dr. Katsuda knows, and she's pulling up the figure. Dr. Katsuda may know.
We're getting retiring emails as we speak, so this data will not be updated.
Well, while she's counting, may I ask?
What's that?
May I ask about this Pathways summer program? Are students signing up now for it?
Dr. Katsuda, would you like to take a seat up here?
Oh, sorry. Oh, shoot. I know.
Well, the next question to you as well.
I didn't know it was coming to you.
What was your,
Yeah, just the summer program, the Pathway summer program, is it still open for signing up for, and how is it being?
Absolutely. So the high school is doing a great job partnering with human resources to advertise the program to students. So we've had information sessions, and they're eligible to apply pretty much for the month of May. Maybe even extending into that since the summer program is necessary to start in June, prefer to hire them before the school year is over. Prepare for the applications are open, and students in the information session have already, they're going to be receiving emails with applications.
And I can help with the other question. We have one of our human resources specialists who's online and watching tonight and messaged me and said we have 28 retirees at this moment.
Oh, thank you. Yes, she's on it. She is watching. Yes.
Other questions?
I can report Superintendent Owens is better than me at Frisbee golf. Although I was just getting warmed up.
I don't know about that. We had a good time, though. We went out last Thursday and played at the Rockwood Disc Golf course, so it was fun to get out and have a little social time.
Excellent. And all we got to do was look at each other through screens. Thank you, Superintendent Owens.
Thank you.
Next on our report list is the 2023-24 supplemental budget report. Director Southerton.
You may want to hit the minimize on your, right there, yep.
So, not to be confused, but the current quarter third budget committee was meeting last time on the 24-25 budget. This is for a supplemental budget for the current budget year due to unforeseen, unanticipated expenses. So, I'll take you through the supplemental budget process, highlight the proposed changes, and then answer any questions you may have. So, spending in the district do not exceed the authorized amounts in any fund or major function after the budget has been adopted without a supplemental budget. And if the district anticipates having additional expenses that exceed contingency amounts within the specific fund, a supplemental budget must be approved by the board before those expenses can be approved. Supplemental budgets are only for unforeseen, unplanned, and unknown activities. You can't adopt the budget and then make changes to the or your shape at the time of the budget adoption. And prior to any additional expenses being incurred, the district must publicly advertise that the board will be considering approving the supplemental budget with the date and the of changes, conduct a budget hearing, which will be after this presentation, I understand, allow for public comment, and then ultimately it's up to the board if they wish to approve the supplemental budget. And they must do so via resolution. And there is an accompanying resolution. Action. So, into the changes. So why are we proposing a supplemental budget for the first time in my tenure here? And that is because of severe winter storms and freezing weather that we experienced this year. You'll recall that 3 of our schools were severely impacted by water main breaks, by sprinkler line breaks, by other water damage. And so that was clearly unforeseen and unknown and could not be planned for. And we experienced substantial losses. So at this point in time, it's approximately $1 million for the recovery and then the restoration. So this meets the standard of being unforeseen and therefore unable to be planned for in such a large expense. There's some pictures. This is CTC, and this was the water break that occurred in the ceiling and flooded that attic space and then froze subsequently as it exited the building, and then some of the damage of the ceiling falling. This is Centennial Middle School, where we had one of the many breaks at that location. And then, of course, we had Pleasant Valley, which was most severely impacted by the water main break, where nearly 15,000 gallons of water poured out and into the building. So these are just a few of the pictures, but just to get an understanding of the scale and the magnitude in multiple locations and why things add up to what they add up to and putting things back. So the proposed supplemental budget before you in a later action to consider approving will recognize unexpected revenue of $1 million as a result of insurance recovery for these losses, and will also recognize the unexpected expenses of $1 million in the support services major function, which is a function where repair and maintenance activities are housed, of $1 million as well. And this table illustrates the changes. Line 3 on the left-hand side is noted as insurance recovery that was previously adopted at the amount of $50,000, so it now goes to $1,050,000. We did anticipate some insurance losses, as is typical in a given year. We do have some coverage, some covered losses. And then you'll notice that support services on the right-hand side, line 1, is now $2,619,303. So it increases both sides of the ledger, if you will, of revenue coming in and expenses going out by $1 million. And I welcome any questions you may have.
Board members?
Will this impact our insurance rates for the upcoming years?
The short answer is yes. They do take a look at your losses and average those out over a time period, typically 5 years, and get a feel for the risk of covering. And we're not unique in that sense because there were many districts impacted by the storm. The good news is our property rating is already very low because in a typical year we have very little covered losses. So we are just going to probably get back to a more normal or typical school district level of property insurance.
Okay, but do we know how much that is yet, or not?
No.
Okay.
No, because it's on a rolling cycle, we've already received our premiums for next year. Next year starts July 1, and so this wasn't really incorporated in those numbers. And Well, we'll probably see that in a year two in the 25-26 budget cycle, and we'll have a better idea.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, excellent question. Thank you.
Other board members?
So, just to make it sure that it's totally clear, the law requires us to do the supplemental budget just because expenses have gone up, even though the outcome is a wash with regard to revenue and expense.
Absolutely, yeah. So our authorization to spend is what you adopt every year when you adopt a budget. We do put the revenue in there and show those inputs, but revenue may come in lower or may come in higher, and no action is needed if you're not anticipating to spend that additional funds if those additional revenues come in. But our legal statutory obligation is on the spend side, so I can't spend one more dollar than you all have appropriated. I don't know of any cases, but in Oregon, you can actually be held personal liable if you exceed the authorization of spending. And so, for a multitude of reasons, we don't exceed our spending. Yeah.
Were any of the improvements or were any of the repairs improvements or upgrades, and CTC aside, any of it like lower the likability or the chance of it happening again, of these kind of breaks?
Excellent question. We did have some additional expenses that we incurred that would not be covered normally in the forms of additional insulation in our attic spaces and other issues to try to prevent these upgrades to various systems. You'll notice in some of the pictures, those are different kinds of joints on how the sprinklers were connected, and there's an improvement, so we went back and improved that joint, so it's less likely to happen in the future. As far as finishes and whatnot, depends on who you ask. Some people will think the Pleasant Valley floors are an improvement because they're brand new, and others, maybe such as myself, thought it was a crime to tear out 80-year-old, old growth wood floors and, would have loved to have them stay. So improvement is a bit subjective. Insurance won't typically pay for an upgrade or improved finishes. They'll just put back the modern version or a new version of what the loss was.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
So as mentioned, board members, what we're going to be doing now is that we need to have a supplemental budget hearing. So we're going to read the statement prior. At this time, the board will recess to meet for the 2023-24 supplemental budget hearing. The regular board meeting will resume after this hearing. So consider ourselves in that hearing at this time. At this time, anybody that may be observing can give comment, and so I'm looking at our board secretary, Missy, to be able to help us with anyone who has contacted you for public comment. Okay, hearing none, then board members, any additional comments that you'd like to have during the hearing? Yes, Director Lynn.
Can I ask how long it's been posted?
The required posting is 5 days, and so it's 10 after 5 days.
Okay. I just, a little reservation about having such a quick public hearing with such little notice, just for the rare occasion that somebody might have wanted to comment, but I don't really see it making that much of a difference, so I don't have any problem moving forward.
Thank you. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and close this hearing, so the regular board meeting will be resuming. Did you feel the difference in the hat you were wearing? Okay, good. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we are at confirmation items. Do I have a motion to approve the confirmation items as presented?
Motion to approve the confirmation items.
Second.
Been a motion and a second to approve the confirmation items as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you. Those have been approved. I'm looking at the time. Are we good, board members, are we good to keep moving through? Yes, thank you. So board action items. Old business. Director Southerton, looks like you're right where you're supposed to be. Award of the Patrick Lynch Classroom Improvement Project construction.
Yep, I'm sorry, or you're welcome. I'll talk to you for a couple of more, depending on how you feel about it. The administration is recommending the approval to award construction contract for the classroom improvement project at Patrick Lynch Elementary School to Pacific Sun Construction and Investing LLC for the sum of $372,294.24. As you all will recall, last year the board created the Classroom Improvement Fund to invest in updating classrooms across the district with the goal of completing the remodeling of 4 to 5 learning spaces each summer. The first set of classrooms identified, based on current condition, are at Patrick Lynch Elementary School. This award is for the construction portion of the work, which has been competitively bid out. 5 bids were received. The lowest bid was from Pacific Sun. The administration recommends the Board of Directors approves the award of the construction portion of the classroom improvement projects at Patrick Lynch Elementary School to Pacific Sun Construction and Investing LLC for the sum of $372,294.24. I welcome any questions you may have.
Board members, any questions this time? Then may I have a motion to approve the recommendation?
Motion to award the Patrick Lynch Classroom Improvement Project.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation for the Patrick Lynch Elementary School project. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Thank you, board members. That concludes old business, and we're on to new business. You're still here.
I'm still here.
This is
Again,
good.
I'm sorry, or you're welcome, depending on how you feel about it.
Would you like to talk to us about that supplemental budget?
I
again?
would. I'd love to share. The board note on the resolution before you is to approve a supplemental budget for the current 2023-2024 budget year as presented in the resolution note attached in board book and as we just viewed in the presentation previously. The purpose of the supplemental budget is to recognize expenses and insurance recovery revenue as a result of the unexpected and substantial winter storm damage at 3 schools, Centennial Transition Center, Pleasant Valley Elementary, and Centennial Middle School. The supplemental budget resolution is included in board book and reflects the changes as shared in my presentation. Having completed the required notices, hearing, and opportunity for public comment, it is recommended that the board adopt the supplemental budget resolution for fiscal year 2023-2024, increasing the risk management fund to a total of $3,480,285. I welcome any questions you may have.
Board members, questions?
Motion to approve the supplemental budget resolution for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Good job, people. First read. This is the option with an option to adopt, which, as you know, means that if we do have additional questions that we'd like to take a little additional time on, we may, or we can approve this evening. But we're talking about the 2024-2025 student fees. Director Southerton.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vice Chair Shields. The district has systematically lowered or eliminated many fees over the last 5 years to reduce barriers and support access for students to participate throughout classes and in co-curricular activities. Historically, fees for co-curricular activities and others have been much higher. The proposed 2024-25 fee schedule maintains co-curricular fees at this lower level and provides for further reductions for those that qualify and lowers the fees for student parking at the high school. The administration also recommends that the school board direct athletic offset fees, as these are often referred to for participation in co-curricular activities, be deposited into the Athletic Facilities Fund to support ongoing maintenance and improvements of the athletic facilities at Centennial. These fees, you will note, currently go into the general fund, these offset fees, and they amount to roughly $25,000 that are paid by student athletes every single year, which is somewhat considered when we build the athletics fund. And we can account for that change in going over to the athletic facilities funds, which will further our improvements or our desired improvements in maintenance for things such as the turf field and other improvements that we'd like to see in athletics. So that's why it's being proposed that way, is to continue to be thoughtful and plan for our long-term plan of maintaining our facilities so they don't get into disrepair as they previously had done. It's recommended that the board approve the student fees schedule proposed for 24-25 and direct athletic offset fees be deposited in the athletic facilities fund to support ongoing maintenance and improvements to athletic facilities. I welcome any questions you may have.
Board members? Director Hardy?
Why do we charge for student parking?
That's an excellent question. I'll take a run at it and then I'll let Principal Miller clean it up. I would say largely it's a common practice in various districts. It both controls the amount of parking and making sure that you have adequate parking for all that want to drive, right? You may have people that want to drive in excess of the number of parking spots that you have, and it's a mechanism for that. It's a mechanism in some districts for maintaining the facilities. In our district, I don't believe either of those were necessarily needed. We currently maintain the facilities out of the maintenance fund, and those student fees were just paid into the student body count. And we believe we have adequate parking, that as long as there's still some process in place, so we know what vehicles are showing up to our campus and we know they belong to students, we really just need to cover that direct cost of processing that paper, of making sure that the student, we get the license plate and registration, and we're not having, other folks park vehicles or leave vehicles overnight or do other things. But philosophically, I think it's also a barrier to parking by having a high fee. And so there was a lot of interest as we spoke about attendance with the Pleasant Valley presentation today and otherwise. Like, we want folks to show up, and if driving your car means you come to school, we want to make that barrier, as minimal or non-existent as possible. Principal Miller, anything to clean up on that?
No, the only thing I would add to that, I think that Director Sutherland did a very good job of summarizing the positives. One of the things I want to emphasize here is particularly because we get the insurance and the license and also the driver's license, so we know who is in our parking lot. It does happen that we all have accidents, or if their question comes up, we're able to look through, and to be honest, for us, it's as much a matter of safety as anything else. And so I know who is there. If there's a car out of place, I'm able to scan really quick and find out, is it owned by a student, is it owned by a staff member? If it's not, then I'm able to flag it. And so that is one of the major things, and the reason, or part of the reason for a $5 recommendation is it covers the parking sticker. So we're not paying out of pocket for that, but it's enough so we're able to cover the cost and then just a little bit more. But we also ran this past several student committees, just so you know, because before we were charging about $35, and the concern was that was a barrier, and so we saw more students starting to park into the neighborhood, which is not what we want. And so by lowering it to $5, students felt that there was still enough of an incentive to make sure you're following through, so you're closer. We're able to keep the safety. And that was part of the student feedback directly on this one. So those are some of the ins and outs of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Director Lynn?
Yeah, can you speak more to the student comment on the fees, like how that was structured and how direct that was?
You said engaging with on the parking.
Yeah, so what we do is we have two different committees that we usually run these things through, like a leadership committee, and ASB, and some of our students, and then we also the principal advisory committee, which will run different decision matrix like this through getting feedback. Another one that we ran through students, and this one actually comes from the yearbook, was yearbook costs, which is another committee, because again, we are weighing how much do you charge, and to be honest, it's education for the students as well, because when you charge too much, but then we've also had the years where we've charged too little, and so understanding the price economics of yearbooks, very fascinating and a great learning experience, and so that was another one where we got student feedback as well.
May follow up?
Yeah, one little follow-up. Maybe this is more for James.
Sure.
In the last few years, have we gotten any public comment and this is just to go to whether we'll adopt on the first read. Do we usually get any public comment? In my experience, we do not, right?
Not in general, and not on the student fees that I can remember. And I've been attending regularly board meetings as a cabinet member for 8 years.
Yeah. I mean, because we're lowering them, just usually, you know, with pocketbook issues like this, I'd love to give as much public comment time as possible. But again, just like the other issue, if it's not really going to be efficacious, then I'm fine adopting tonight.
I think one thing to consider though too is that, you know, the fees are waived. A lot of the fees are waived for any students like already on the free lunch or reduced lunch programs. They're waived or half off. So I think that helps alleviate some of the financial stress that families may feel.
Mm-hmm.
We also did benchmarking all offer with our neighboring districts several years ago when we began this journey of lowering fees. We used to be up near $200 for your first athletic co-curricular activity fee. And at that point in time, it was about average, and now we've subsequently lowered it year after year to now the $100 level. So I think that's been what I've heard back is participation is up greatly. Like, we had to have a third tennis team. We're adding more JV teams at the high school level. We're seeing a lot of participation in basketball and things. There was times when we couldn't field like a girls basketball team. We didn't have participation, and I think economics was a part of that. So anecdotally, I can say there's evidence that this is being well received and participation is up.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing about the student voice and having it run through our students. It's those that are impacted by it, and we have in the past, but it feels like we do it almost as, now it's become a norm that you're doing it, instead of a afterthought. Well, maybe we should ask them. It's like, oh, no, we're going to be proactive about this and asking for their input. So I appreciate hearing that that's kind of becoming just the way we are and how we do things here. So I'd like to acknowledge you for that. So any objection then to taking a motion to approve at this meeting? And then could I have a motion to approve the fee structure as presented?
Motion to approve the student fees.
Second. Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the fee structure as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you so much. Hey, it's a change. Our next item on our new business is the Centennial Virtual Academy Program Authorization. Director Callahan, you're going to lead us through it, but I'm sure, yes, you're going to have some help along the way. I will let you get started on it.
This evening, we're presenting a brief overview of some of the upcoming changes for CBA, which will also impact our CHS students, all of our 9-12 students. My mistake. Sorry. Good evening. This evening, we would like to present the CVA report along with some of the changes for K-12 and in particular 9-12, and at the end, request your approval for continuation of CVA. This just shows a brief overview, or it's an overview of the enrollment over the last 4 years. When you look at the enrollment, you'll notice 2022 is when we were coming out of the pandemic. And you can see the last 2 years, things, particularly in K-8, really leveling out. And 9-12, Zach is going to share a little bit about some of the changes, which you'll start to understand the impact of the increases for this year at 9-12. So with that, I'll turn it over to Zach.
Good evening. Thanks for having me in this evening. It's good to see everybody. So kind of resetting, CVA having shared a board report already this year. I got some brief information, but want to kind of orient everybody there. So CVA provides an ideal learning environment for students and families who have personal needs that brick and mortar does not support, such as behavioral, emotional, or health condition. Students appreciate flexibility for many reasons, so we're an attraction there. As I like to say, we have the opportunity to bend the time continuum and get students on track or to graduate on time in the easiest, quickest manner without being subject always to number of classes in a day and trimesters, etc. See our newly adopted logo there and our mission statement. I'll let you read that on your own. All right, so our current model K-8, I don't often lump these two together because there is nuanced differences, but in brief, both at the K-8 level, students may attend their neighborhood school part-time or not at all. K-5 tries to operate mostly like similar to a brick and mortar K-5. It has an at-home learning coach, a parent, guardian, or other, and has very regular interactions with the K-5 Centennial instructor. 6-8, we begin to see independent learning. All core courses are in place, and this year we've added elective offerings. Instructor meets with students on Zoom and also in person at CVA. The 6-8 group has had a slight uptick, and I think that is due to better collaboration with the two middle schools this year. So looking at, for K-8, again, model changes in 24, 25. K-5 and 6-8 staff will work on site. I anticipate one staff member will be covering the 6 levels of K-5 and continued opportunities for on-ground interventions. We have an instructor that brings in a reading group now 4 days a week. 6-8 saw some growth in enrollment this year. I just mentioned that, and anticipate one staff member will cover the 6-8 levels. Current model in 9-12, just to review, and this is what Mo was mentioning about explaining more. Again, full-time, we have full-time online learners and can offer a 24-credit diploma completely virtually and online. We have another number of students that are dual enrolled or hybrid. The only difference between hybrid and dual is hybrid would mean a majority online and dual would be a majority on ground, but nonetheless taking part in both that program and CHS. And then new this year we have a learning lab. Those students are attending full day at Centennial High School. They duck into a 1-period class and go and make up credit or credits live within their day and then plug back into the on-ground. And so that's been a nice innovation and an opportunity for further refinement and improvement too. So looking ahead to 9-12, model changes for next year. We have formed a CVA and CHS collaboration committee. We've met weekly in the community room on Wednesdays from 3:30 to 4:30. It's a volunteer group of CVA instructors and CHS instructors and other peripheral people involved. It's been awesome. Maren and I will kind of plan it to the full, but what we've kind of learned is getting them together in small groups and getting at it's been great. And I think a lot of the preconceived notions and assumptions about one another has come down, and it's been really productive. Next year, 9-12 staff will work out of CHS for the school year and work directly with on-ground teaching staff in the realm of PD and PLCs. And then defining systems and exploring dynamic staffing to meet student choice for on-ground virtual learning or a mixable hybrid.
With that brings our report to a close, and we'd recommend that the board approve the continuation of Centennial Virtual Academy in perpetuity beginning the fall of the school year 2024-25. But first, we'd like to take any questions.
Thanks for being here tonight, Zach.
Yeah.
So you said, I just need some dots connected, that there's been an uptick in the attendance at the middle school level, and you think that's because of better coordination with the CMS and OMS. And so what do you mean? Are you, well, just tell me exactly what the better coordination, why that leads to more attendance.
I would just say intentionality. I put it as a focus of mine to make sure that we are making those connections. One of the hardest things, and it's like communication is like the root of everything. One of our challenges is always finding out what's happening at every building across the district on what days. And so along with that, it's kind of reminding administrators and front office staff that we're here, we're an option. We can be part of a solution, part of a consideration for the reasons for students.
So then do the principals or system principals or whatever at the middle schools recommend for kids that might be not doing as well in a brick and mortar that maybe online would be better? Is that how it has helped?
Yep, it can. We've got an active website on the, through the district site. Our full-time secretary answers calls, takes 52 calls a day, and part of her role is explaining the program and what it is and what it isn't. And again, that is, it's a different bit of information, K-5, 6, 8, and 9, 12.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very good at distinguishing. So it's just slightly up, and I just think it's to directly answer your question, I think it's just a little bit about intentionality of building that collaboration with them.
I got a couple questions. The first question is, why are we lowering the FTE for K through 5 and 6 through 8? Is it because of the leveling off and?
Really good question. So when the teaching staff was remote, the thinking there was to have some, so currently my teacher does 5th through 7th. And the reason is I wanted that person to shepherd that transition from elementary to middle. And I had another teacher that did 8th, 9th for that same reason. It didn't matter as much virtually. Next year, we're gonna have folks reporting to the building with building hours. And so we want to to build that. It would be harder to straddle in that realm. We may get back to that, but we had really ultimate flexibility when people were virtual. This is kind of a reset there. So does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. It helps. And then my other question is, it might be a better question for James, but when is this going to stop being a program and become a school?
Yeah, I would actually punt this over to the team that is presenting, because I know Dr. Ramberg has done some research around program versus school. And so I'll let him kind of open up some of the research that he's done and then help clean up. It's a good distinction, and we've wrestled with that throughout the time that we have had it established, which is, we're going on year 5 now. So Dr. Ramberg and Director Callahan, if you can speak a little bit to some of the research, that would be helpful.
Yeah, so when, I remember when I started, so last fall, so, almost 2 years ago, we reached out to ODE, and you can be a program, you can be a school, you can be a charter, all have different advantages. The program allows you to be the most flexible. Once you jump into the school realm, you are doing reporting, to the degree that every school in the district does. And so your most responsive version is probably program, but I don't think and not speaking for anybody, I don't think the decision to continue as a program today eliminates the opportunity to revisit those other modes in the future.
I would also add that we want to make sure that every student in Centennial School District has access to all of the supports that everybody has access to. And so some of that is being able to staff. And so really the move, for example, that we're doing with the high school and K-8, it gives us actually more opportunity to ensure that every Centennial Virtual Academy student can also access every program that every other student can access in the district. Whereas if as a virtual school, we just could not fiscally do that.
So what I would add to the remarks, and thank you for kind of coloring in there, that's helpful, is that with the level of integration that we're intending to provide, and you see the various modes of how CVA is integrating with schools based on hybrid, based on learning lab, based on, you know, other factors in terms of elementary being able to access electives at the school site level, and other supports that are available within the brick and mortar structure. Having it be a program rather than a siloed school helps us to be a little bit more fluid in that way. So that's some of the thought behind it.
Go ahead, because I'm going to go in a different
Just,
direction.
I've never heard the distinction between dual and hybrid before. That was new. I was in a hybrid environment, I think, but I'm not sure now. I just really, really like, I'll use the term hybrid for the lack of understanding of the two, but that opportunity for students to be, sometimes they need the flexibility at this particular time in their life, but would like the flexibility to go back or forth, depending. Oh, we talk about graduating on time because we oftentimes think about, you know, they missed a credit or something happened, et cetera. What about graduating early?
We do have a segment of students that are interested in doing that and pursue that. Qualitatively, I'd say I have the privilege of talking to them once in a while, and they're usually on a job site, and I can tell within 5 minutes they're going to finish. You know, first of all, it's usually 8:05 in the morning. They're up and out and about. So yes, we have a contingent of our student population that is interested in accelerated in the literal term, where more credits. The coaching there is, for us, is yes, we get all the reasons that you want to do that, and here's some things to consider, you know, an opportunity to stay and get some of that socialization or take some courses that maybe you wouldn't otherwise, and so we try and have those conversations too.
Sometimes our young people don't understand what they might be giving up.
Yeah,
by making that jump to graduate.
And what I would also say is that group, they understand the mechanism of the learning platform, how to do school, and they get into that I just want to pass go mode.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that's the right thing for them, but we want to kind of slow them down and talk them through it and say, here's what you might be leaving on the table or not. And it's some of the funnest conversations that I get to have, to be honest. So.
Director Andrews got additional questions.
So I think we've probably talked about this before, but I don't remember. So do CDA kids do testing, and so do since it's a program, this program versus school, are those scores reported separately, or are they merged into like CHS?
Great question.
Yeah, they're part of CHS student body.
So it's to their neighborhood school.
Oh, they get charted to the neighborhoods.
Yep. And
do you track attendance too, and measure attendance?
we do. We're getting better at it. ODE sets out standards for attendance, and we've done even more work this year at meeting those standards. But absolutely, we do. One of the bigger tricks with us with attendance is that we are always a day behind because students have the 24 hours to access. So, and that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg of some of the wrinkles. But if we're going to offer flexible opportunities for students, then we've got to think that way, and it's fun to get to do that.
Thank you. Good. Thank you. Let's see if we can move this forward. Directors, do I have a motion to approve the recommendation as presented?
Motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation as presented. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? We're all here. Thank you. You did it. Good job. Okay, board members, we're about to embark on an executive session. Before we do that, I thought we might just take a 5-minute quick break, grab something to drink, personal break, whatever. So it says 8:07, so give us 5 minutes, watch that clock. That would be math, I don't do it.